Just kidding. And really, we forgot to tell Charlie, and he really rearranged everything in the nicest and friendliest and most dedicated of ways to make sure that he can be here. If you like, you can speak to me afterwards. I'll tell you what he did in order to get here. You wouldn't believe it. But really, there's no better way, after the dozens of speakers, over 55 breakout sessions, Rav Grossman, the videos, the music, no better way to end this amazing weekend and to invite Charlie Harary up to the podium.
Thank you, Yossi, and it's truly an honor to be here, to be able to, just before we end and go back to our lives. Don't you feel like we've been here forever? like 6 months? There's really air out there, it's weird. My kids come home, they're like, where's the tea room? They're like, there's no tea room. Mommy and Daddy don't work for you, we're not caterers. And in a couple of minutes, we go back to like regular life. But it's truly an honor to be here. Ray Simpson, Yossi, Matra. You know, it's amazing when you see a bunch of people, there's so many more, that just care so much about Hashem. The Kodesh Baruch Hu goes, whatever you guys want, it's on me. And they start Project Inspire. Remember those first few times, and a couple people showed up, and then the Kodesh Baruch Hu just opened the floodgates. To spend Shabbos together, it's truly touching and it's wonderful, and especially as we enter into a period of time where Jews come together, it's a real supposed to be here for Shabbos, and it's real supposed to be here on Sunday. Thank you, Yossi. So we're right now in today's Rosh Chodesh. So we're right now entering into the month where the tagline is maybe one of the favorite of the year. For those who came during Shabbos, we spoke a little about this on Friday night. V'shenichnas adar marbim b'simcha. And since it's a song, we all know it by heart. And the question is why? Why v'shenichnas adar marbim b'simcha? Well, because we have a holiday in Adar? Well, I gotta tell you something. If you wait a few more months, when we get to Tishrei, we've got plenty of holidays. I said this yesterday at the thing. There's nothing better than when you first start working and explaining to your boss that September, you're off. All of it. There are two, there's two, there's an extra holiday, and there's two on the back end too, yeah, see you in October. There's plenty of, why don't we just have Mashiach Tishrei, Marcus? Well, because we were saved. This is our life. All we do is get saved and eat. That's what we do for a living. And then we make mitzvahs about it. You know what I'm talking about? Like Hanukkah. I love Hanukkah because you get to make a mitzvah out of eating oil. Don't you love Jews? We're somehow connected to oil. Whatever has oil is a mitzvah. Just throw everything in oil. Just put the kids in oil. I'll lick the kids. It's fine. It's a mitzvah. And it's Shabbos Hanukkah, so that none of the calories matter because God takes our calories. I love us and us in food. I gotta tell you something. If you wait till next month, it is so much cooler than this month. I mean, next month we've got frogs and lice with split Z's. This is like a pretty decent story. Like, it's not that impressive. It's like one minister and another minister. Someone wanted to kill us. We knew we had an insight. Like, now it's like 8-pack on steroids. We had like an inside, hit. And we knew the queen, and like, it ended up being, it probably happened a million more times. Why? Because we get to be drunk? Is that what this is? Is it because on Purim, like we get to like burnt out yeshiva guys like smoke cigarettes and drink a lot? Could it possibly be that because we get to be drunk on Adar, like that's what the sin is? What are we, Irish? Is that how it works? I'll tell you a funny story. I got a friend of mine who is he's an Irish guy. He's a very close friend. We were sitting in law school. There's 3 frum guys and him in a 4-person group. We were very close to him. Very religious guy. Sweet, fine, religious. Halfway through, he looks and goes, you know, you Jews, there's something special about you people. I want to learn more about your religion. And we're like, well, thank you so much. The preacher goes, no. The next thing that you do religious, I need to be at. The next thing was Purim. He comes over for Purim. He looks at me and goes, oh my God, I want to convert. I said, no problem, right after Yom Kippur. He's like, what's that? I'm like, wait, my son. I understand something. Why? So in order to understand this, because to me, honestly, I always grew up, And I always thought Purim was like the recess period of Jewish holidays. Like we had like real Jewish holidays, like Yom Kippur. That's a real holiday. Fast, you daven. Pesach. You know what I'm saying? You eat bad bread for 8 days. You know, that's like a real... Purim, it's like the day off. You know, do whatever you like. You're eating, you're drinking, you go... It's like I feel like God's listen, you really worked hard all year. Here's one for you. But if you look at the Arizal, he says, if you want to list out the holiest days of the year, the second to holiest is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur. You want to go holy, the Arizal says? I mean, you really want to like, get to the top of the list? Purim. And the question, for the few minutes we have today, is what is going on with Purim and Adar? That it is so holy, and it is so happy, it is so besimcha. There's something happening in this month. It's in the air. There's something going on here, and it's going to sneak up on us like every single year. And by the time, anyways, you know how Purim works. But like, by the time you finish all the shalach manis and the kids and the costumes and all that stuff, it's like over already. And the kids are on like sugar highs for weeks on that. But what is going on in Purim? So it's hard to understand Purim unless we talk about the story of Purim. And it's hard to understand the story of Purim unless we talk about arguably one of the greatest heroes in Jewish history, Esther. And what makes Esther so amazing is how she does what she does. Usually when you see somebody in Torah, what you find when you first meet them is them. You get a piece of who they are. It makes sense that Avraham Avinu was going to change the world because the first time you even meet him, he's walking through fire for Hashem. It makes sense that Yaakov is going to do something because as you meet him, he's doing big things. When you meet people in Tanakh, usually you get a sense of who they are right away and develop with you. But if there's one person in the entire Torah that is totally different in different parts of the story, it's Esther. Right? Esther opens up, totally meek, subordinate, stands in the back. Whatever Mordechai says to do, she does. Achashverosh, a bear of a man who literally has no tolerance for another person, especially a woman, wants a wife, and he turns around to a Jewish girl and goes, get online. She's like, what are you, crazy? She goes, absolutely, whatever you want. Whatever you need. I'll go wherever you want. Whatever Mordechai says to do, she does. Wherever they lead her, she follows. Doesn't make a fuss, doesn't do anything. Haggai is the head of the women. When they come in, it took 6 months to get them prepped. Haggai turns to her and goes, what conditioner do you need? She's like, whatever. He goes, what are you talking about? Like, what makeup do you use? How does it work? You know, you have a whole thing. She's like, what do I have in the cabinet? Whatever it is. He goes, who are you? I'll tell you a funny story. I've got a friend of mine who lives in the 5 towns. He has 5 girls. He says, I identify with nobody in Tanakh except for Haggai. He goes, that's my life. Everyone's got to find their one piece in. Torah is for everyone. Haggai goes, for real? She's like, what do you have in the cabinet? Achashverosh goes, where are you from? Nowhere. What do you want? Nothing. Gemara says, like, she's like, karka. Nothing. And then something happens. Something happens mid-Megillah. And she just snaps. She walks in at the threat of death to the most powerful man in the universe. And the man's a meeting. And then another meeting. And then she outplays the most powerful and the most cunning man. You ever get this feeling when somebody, you ever get the Bible, someone ever say something that's negative and your whole body is burning? Can you imagine staring down the evil Haman and saying, him, he tried to kill my people. Kill him. And Achashverosh goes, is that enough? She goes, that is not enough. He has kids. Kill him too. And he's like, is today enough for you? She's like, I need 2 days off. Are you kidding me? This isn't Israel. I need Sunday. 15th of Adar, I'll take that as well. She turns to the rabbis, making new guild, like, no problem. She's like, in my name. What happens to Esther? So let's go one more step, and then we'll start to answer some questions. Because you can't get to Purim until you get through one threshold. And in order to understand the Purim and understand Esther, we have to do what the Chachamim ask of us. They don't let us walk to Purim. They don't let us walk to Esther unless we deal with these people first. There is one nation in the world that we hate more than anyone in the world. There is one nation that stands between us and Purim, between us and Esther. There is one nation that we have to stand by and get through. Before we walk in this door, what am I talking about? Amalek. Now, Amalek's a funny thing. Because if you hate somebody, usually you leave them. But we have this weird hate-obsessive relationship with them. We have a Shabbaton, or someone speaking in their honor. It's called Parsha Zav. And all year, Midoraisa, you don't have to come to shul. One time a year, Midoraisa, you show up to shul. When is that? Zav. Which is why the rabbi gets up and goes, okay, everybody, we're going to have 2 readings, and then 3 readings, and then 4 readings, and guys, really be quiet. No, really be quiet. No, really be quiet. And kids, we're going to read later and earlier, the women. Because God asks us one thing. What does he ask us? We have one goal in life. Erase the memory of Amalek. And so every year we get in the room, and we remember Amalek. Does this make sense to anybody here? We have one goal in life, to erase the memory of Amalek. Here's the problem. Nobody remembers Amalek. We're the only ones that still remember them. We don't even know who they are, so we make up people to be Amalek. The Nazis, Amalek. The Arabs, Amalek. The guy who failed me on my road test, Amalek. If you see 2 Jews fighting, they disagree on something in Judaism. They call each other Amalek. If we walk down the street outside and call someone Amalek, they'd be like, what are you even talking about? The only nation in the world that actually remembers Amalek are the people that are supposed to erase the memory of Amalek. Is this bothering anybody in the room but me? What in the world are we doing? I have an idea. It's called the Harary plan. Let's put Amalek back in Devarim when everyone's in the country. In the end of the parsha, when everyone's snoozing and getting the kiddush on the back end, and in a couple years, we'll be like, oh yeah, I think I heard about that. I don't know. Done. Out. And we will actually erase their memory. What are we doing? So a couple of years ago, I want to tell you a story. So for those of you who follow conspiracy theories, like I do, you'll notice that there's a man right now in a country called Iran named Mahmoud, I need a job. And Mr. I need a job has an idea. You ready for this? This is a new one in the world. He wants to destroy the Jewish people. I'm just trying to think what food we're going to make after he's dead, by the way. What Iranian dishes that are totally fattening I'm going to have to eat when this guy dies. But I'm sure my wife and my mom will deal with it. So I need a job thinks he's going to create a nuclear bomb and send it into Israel, and God's going to let it happen. So he builds a nuclear facility. And then a few years ago, the facility shuts down. Nobody knows why. Now it's backing up again, and we've got our issues. But no one knows why. And for those of you who read all these spy conspiracy stuff, what happened was, because I'm part of the intelligence community, and I got a call from the Joint Chiefs of Staff earlier, what happened was the Israeli Intelligence Department and the Americans got together and they created a virus called the Stuxnet virus. And they placed the virus in the facility. Now the virus was unique because it was able to be controlled from Israel. So every time they quarantined it, they just kept on spreading it, and the virus literally shut the plant down from the inside. Now in my mind, here's what I'm picturing. In 1981, the Iraqis also built a facility. And what the Israelis did then was they sent in fighter pilots. So the Iranians, being smarter than us, created the most sophisticated ground-to-air missiles waiting outside the facility for the Israeli planes. So here's what I'm picturing in my mind. A whole bunch of Iranian soldiers outside with all these missiles. And they're looking up in the sky saying like, El Jihad, where are these Israelis? Meanwhile, behind them is a virus being controlled by like 2 Israelis like in a bunker in Dimona. You know what I'm talking about? Like smoking cigarettes and drinking black coffee, talking 1,000,000 miles an hour like, Yoni, meanwhile, Meanwhile, they're like, where are these cheap Israelis? And the whole thing is breaking down behind them as they wait for us. That gives me so much hana just thinking of that. The problem was that they thought that because we weren't sending in planes, we stopped being their enemies. But we were smarter. And I love how I put myself in this category of guys. We knew that they were waiting for us. So you know what we did? We just changed our face. And when you change your face, they don't even know you're there until it's too late. Who was Amalek? So many people hate us. So many people try to destroy us. Why do we care so much about one nation for? Because the whole purpose of our existence took place in one moment in history. God came down to the epicenter of civilization called Egypt. Egypt used to be the epicenter of civilization. Right now it's a third world country, but back then it used to be where the whole world. We right now in America live in the epicenter of civilization. For however long this lasts, the whole world knows our business. You go to Europe, ask anybody about our president, they all know. You ask us about the European countries, we have no idea. If it wasn't for the live map on the way to El Al, you know what I'm talking about, on the way to Israel, we don't even know there were even countries in Europe. Only because before we're like, oh, that's where Spain is? I had no idea. You ever speak to someone and they're not speaking English and you're confused? You're like, why aren't you talking English? You're like, because I don't even live in America, and you're not even in America. You're like, why aren't you talking English? We live in the middle of the world. Back then, the middle of the world was Egypt, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu had an idea. He wanted to show the world him. The world today as exists, we have people, most of the problem that we have with the Rabbanu Shalom is not that he created a world. Even the biggest atheist will have a hard time screaming around the fact that there was a designer in the beautiful design of our universe. Even Albert Einstein says, God doesn't play dice with the universe because in the creation of humanity, it is so difficult to think that these things just pop out of nowhere. Where the word struggles is not whether God created it, where the word struggle is whether or not he actually is in it. So God decided he was going to take a tiny little nation of slaves in the middle of the world and show humanity that he lives with us, that he breathes with us, that he is in every aspect of our lives, and he shows up for 10 awesome plagues, each one showing a different aspect of his providence in the world. When the Jews walked out of Egypt, the entire world finally got it. When Yoshua sent in spies to Jericho, and Rahab, who was a less than very important person, said, our hearts are melting in front of you. We know that God is with you, and he fights battles for you. That means we know God's in the world. When the Jews walked out of Egypt, we were the nations that stood for God is with us. Everything. There's no coincidence. We didn't just happen to find a star and get to a sea. We didn't happen to get out. God took us out because he lives in our lives. We stood for something. And there was one nation that couldn't handle it. It deceived from it. We weren't attacking them. They lived. The Amalek, the old Amalek lived in where present-day Gaza is. We were coming in the desert. We weren't attacking their land. They left their own homes to fight us for one thing. It wasn't for our money. It wasn't for our bodies. It wasn't because they hated the Jew. It's because they hated God. And you hate us, we'll deal with it. You mess with my father, and I'll take you down forever. You hate God. You can't handle the fact that we think he's in this world. We're never going to forget you for the rest of our lives. Because our job here, our only reason why we exist, is because we are the nation that walked out of Egypt and stood for he is in this world. And one nation can't handle that. Asher Karka Madera. Gematria Suffolk. Stop being so religious. Did you just come back from seminary, by the way? We just not Baruch Hashem me all the time. Do me a favor. He wasn't there. I got it. Just take your head out of the tone for 2 seconds. Do me a favor. I understand. I'm very religious. He's not in business. I got it. I got it. Relax. Calm down. He's not really here. Where is God? if God was, then he would be where and where. And there's one nation that stood for this. And they came out and they fought us. And God says, here's the deal. You're going to be sitting in 2014 and you're going to be at a Project Inspire conference and you're going to look around and go, we won. Look at us. Where's the Amalek conference? Not in Stanford. And we're going to feel like we won. And we're going to get so proud of ourselves. And we're going to go home and look at our Jerusalem stone buildings and laugh. Ah, we killed Amalek. It's so done. We won. And God goes, stop. You didn't win. I'll tell you when you won. When we're living in Israel for the rest of our lives, we win. You know what happened? They just changed their face. They're not an army anymore. You know what they are? They're a virus. And they exist in the hearts and minds of our people. In that beautiful Jerusalem stone yeshiva, there's two guys in some corner somewhere on a computer in the Amalek headquarters going, watch this yeshiva, look at this, look at that boy, watch this, boom, I own that kid. No, there's no God in your life. Those kids, I don't think they've heard God all year. Look at that marriage. Look how good they look on the outside. It's amazing how everybody loves them. Watch this, boom, got her, hold on. Got him. This is great. This is easier than I thought. And we're looking outside going, where are you, Amalek? Come on. We've got homes and bungalows. And we go here. We go to Israel. In 13 hours, I can daven at the hotel. We win. And God and Amalek is going, are you kidding me? I'm just getting started with you people. He didn't stop. Oh, no. They just changed their face. They're a virus that exists in our hearts, that exists in our families, that's plaguing our children, that's destroying our communities. Is God really in this world? Is my wife given to me by Hashem or to serve me? Is the challenging child that I have really on loan by the Rabboni Shalom to make me the person I'm meant to be? Or are they continuously embarrassing me in public because they should be perfect kids because that's what I deserve? Is that really? Is he really here? That person, is he? Oh, come on. All right, I got it. I'll dive in. I got it. I don't really want to be doing it, but I'll do it anyways. Right? What's the greatest day of the year for men? Anybody? What is the greatest holiday for men all year? Men? Beis Nisan. Why? Because it's the first day where you do not say Tachanun for a month. You know what I'm talking about? Go to any shul in North America. You can't even finish. You can't even finish Chazar says Shach with Hamdan. Iskada. Like, what's going on? He's like, I don't know. Is there a chassid? No, I don't know. Is there a bris? No. And all of a sudden someone goes, I think it's Nisan. And they go, oh. And everyone becomes like an academic. April, May, June, July, August. And then, oh. No Tachanun for a month. Guys are doing conga lines with their tefillin and shul, giving out candies to babies. People are smiling for the first time in 10 months. I don't gotta say Greek for 3 less minutes. You know every guy in the room. When they say Rosh Chodesh and it's Tuesday, Wednesday, everyone's like, oh my gosh. Tuesday, Wednesday? That's a lot of Torah this week. Everyone's praying for the one day Rosh Chodesh on Shabbos. I do it because otherwise he's going to zap me and hurt me. I don't know. I do it because I do it. Is he in my life? Is he in my street? Is he everywhere? When I walk in the street and I see somebody that never ever had a chance to experience Judaism, is it about my covet and how dumb I'm going to look if they reject me? Or do I look them in the eyes and go, are you joking me? Could it possibly be that you're going to live an entire life and never get a chance to taste what I have, and I'm going to pass by you because I'm worried that I'm going to look bad? Is my image so important to me that I'm passing by dozens of people and never saying anything? And Amalek goes, that's right, it's your image, it's not about him. And God goes, here's the story. Once a year, I don't care, D'oraisa, once a year you show up. 2 readings, 4 readings, 6 readings, 8 readings, I don't care. Once a year, you give it to me. I'm your dad. Remember, they are there. Now that you know the war is not done, find them, wipe them out. The whole goal of Purim is the one yontif that is the most secular yontif of the year. The whole story is secular. It takes place out of Eretz Yisrael. It's a political coup versus a political coup. In fact, the whole Purim day is entirely secular, which is why people that aren't even interested in Judaism get to act as least Jewish as possible on Purim. And I was like, whatever, give me one more day. We do nothing from. It's an entirely secular day for one reason. Because God is showing us. I can show up on Yom Kippur and I can scare you. I can do a Matan Torah and I can make you scared. You can see the awe. Of course you're going to buy God on Yom Kippur. Big deal. You're going to show up on Yom Kippur and not show, come on. He goes, buying me on Yom Kippur is okay. Believing that I took you out of Mitzrayim, come on. But buying me on Purim? Believing I'm behind every coup? That's me. That's beating Amalek. And our job in life, our whole essence of life, is being able to look at every nook and cranny, at every moment of every aspect of my life and my marriage and my children and my community and everyone I know and ask, do I see God here? Do I see God in my life? He is not giving me what I want. I asked him for it. Do I still see him? I have a challenge. I can't get through it. Do I see him? Do I really believe it's a coincidence? Or do I know at my core there is no such thing? There are no sfeiros. It's him everywhere. It's him every second. Helping, navigating, putting. He is in my life. No space. And when a Jew does that, there is no simcha like hataras hasfeiros. True Jewish happiness is the knowledge that every second of my life has purpose and meaning. That there isn't a point of my life that isn't filled to the gills with finding my God. Now, how did Mordechai get Esther to snap? What happened? So let me end with the following. And this, I think, is the most inspiring line in time. And this I'll conclude. Mordechai tells Esther, remember the story? Shushan, right? Haman, ring, law. Now we think that everything that took place in Adar, that's not true. The actual law was signed in Nisan for the next Adar. Can you imagine right now, if Washington passed a law that in 11 months from now, all the Jews are able to be killed? Right? Shushan was a regular city. There were real people that lived in it. It was an actual country with a king, and the Jews were ministers, and they were prominent people like they are today. And they came to the Suda, and they were ministers, and they sat on different boards, and they actually lived in their yeshivas and Talmud Torahs. It was a real country, in a real city. Can you imagine happening right now? What would we do right now if we found out that someone passed a law in 11 months? We would do which thing we would do? We would send people to Washington, we would go lobby our state governors, we would have kids say, kill them in the corner, we'd have women's groups, we'd have telethons, we'd go out of our minds. What do you think happened in Shushan? They went out of their minds. They ran to the palace, they ran to the kids, they said to Hillel, and all of a sudden through all this noise, what are they? Wait a second. Guys, relax, chill, easy, don't put the food away yet. I got the greatest hookup of all time. My niece is the queen. So he sends a letter to Esther. Esther, I don't know if you know what's going on in the West Wing. Maybe having a good time in the East Wing. We got ourselves some problems. She sends back the line. What do you expect from Esther, right? Meek, subordinate. What does she say back? Whoa. I can't go into, no, you didn't invite me, you crazy? No way, I can't do that. And also, by the way, you're embarrassing me, you're ripping, no. Like, you know when you take your dad out with the minstrel, like in the car, like in Disney World, you're like, Daddy, please? Can you do it in the car? You're embarrassing us. put on tefillin in the airport. Like, she's like, do me a favor. She's like, you can't, you're embarrassing me. She's like, no, I can't. And Mordechai sends her back the following line that shapes her life, and I think in my core, that's the most inspiring line in Tanakh. He says, you stay quiet now. Don't worry, Esther. You stay quiet now, we'll get help by somebody else. Va'at ubeis avich tovedu, but your whole lineage will be gone. Umiodea ima'es kazos higat b'malchus. He goes, really, Esther? Do you have the virus as well? Because it just happened to be that you ended up as the queen? You think you're not born with the ability to go out and stand in front of somebody? You think you're meek, you're not the charismatic type? You don't really, I don't do these things. I can't say anything. I'm not the one that does. It's not who I am. It's not me. I can't. You don't know me. I can't. You really don't know me, Charlie. I can't. It sounds so nice. I love Project Inspire, but really, I can't. I totally can. And one of them goes, really? How do you know what you can't do? Umi yodea ima ace kazos. Just happened to be coincidence? Are you stuck with the Amalek virus as well? You just happen to end up being the queen at this moment in Jewish history where you're the only one that can help us and you're not going to even try? But the question is, what should he have said? He should have said, pretty please. What did he say? Don't worry. If you don't do it, va'at ubeis avich tovedu. What was insensitive about that line? What was Esther? An orphan. He's messing with her father? So I want to share with you the following piece of this on. What was really going on? Amalek comes from a very special lineage. Amalek, the Medrash says, Amalek's mother was a woman named Timnah. His father was a man named Eliphaz. Timnah was royal descent, and she married Eliphaz, Esau's grandson, because she was willing to give up her royal lineage to be a concubine of Esau, just to be in the Zerah of Avraham. And because she was Mesiras Nefesh for that, God gave her a child that would be invincible, that would destroy literally the world. And the only way you can beat somebody with that much Mesiras Nefesh is somebody else with more Mesiras Nefesh. Who in our history has more Mesiras Nefesh when it comes to marriage than Timnah? Rachel. The only person that was able to be Mesiras Nefesh for somebody else was Rachel. So the only person that can beat Amalek is someone who comes from Rachel. Which is why when Moshe sent out someone to fight Amalek, he sent Yoshua. Because where's Yoshua from? Ephraim, who's from Rachel, which is why the king that was designed, that was destined to beat Amalek was Shaul. Where is Shaul from? Binyamin. And Shaul's father is Kish. So see the setting. Ish Yehudi Hayam Shushan Abir Ushmo, Mordechai, Ben Yair, Ben Kish, Ish Shemini. They were the ones that had the power to destroy Amalek, nobody else. He goes, do you have any idea who you are? You think you're meek? You're the only one out there. If you don't step up now, your whole lineage. This goes back to Binyamin. You are uniquely situated in the world right now to fight Amalek. This isn't a request. This is your mission in life. You pass up this mission like Shaul, you're out. You're not hanging around the hoop because this isn't like another mitzvah that you do. Your whole tafkid of life is just this. Root and beat Amalek. And that was it. Because when you go from an action to a mission, your life changes. An action you can do more or less of. A mission is your whole life's purpose. We are on this earth for one reason. We as a nation are on this earth for one reason. To wipe out Amalek. To search godlessness that exists in our hearts and in our marriages and in our friends, and to see it and to figure out how to bring godliness into everywhere. This isn't an action. This isn't a nice thing we do at night. This isn't something that we have as a hobby. We can spend all day working, all day taking care of our family, and the 2 minutes we spend doing something else, that doesn't change that this is our mission. Esther's whole life came down to one moment. Shaul's whole legacy got lost by one moment, because at the core of who we are, it's not an action, it's a mission. What we're doing today is not doing more stuff. This isn't an action. This is our mission. This is why we're here. This is why we go to work. This is why we have families. This is why, maybe this is why, we are now in the Shushan of 2014. Because if you look around, this is Shushan. This is Gullus. And we are the nation, we are the community in Gullus in 2014. And if you look into the hearts of our fellow Jews, from and not from, you see the same virus eating them up. And they're dying for someone to come in with a drop of medication, a smile, a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of welcoming. They're dying for an Esther and a Mordechai to say, this isn't an action for me, this is my mission. I gotta go to work in the morning, but it doesn't change who I am. When our lives have this much purpose, that's simple. Purim is when we stand together as a community and say, we get it. We get it. We should have beautiful simchas, and our kids should look beautiful, and we should have all the money, and we should learn all the Torah. We get it. We get our mission. Our mission is to find Hashem in everything. Our mission is to find the Jew that needs our help, and to make sure that we know, we're never staying quiet. If there's someone that needs a drop of godliness, you got me. Because it's my mission. That's why I'm here. Why in the world did God put us in America in 2014 at the edge of Geula? Stam, because it just happens to be that we're just here today. Umi Yodea, and who knows? Im la'es kazos. We are here in America for this reason. He got the malchus. My bracha is that this Purim, we stare Amalek in the eyes, and we take on the mission that was given to us by our forefathers. And there should be no Jew that we see in our presence that in some way doesn't pass by the Esther Hamalka, the new Esther Hamalka, the second Esther Hamalka, that is able to walk at the face of death, to bring one more bit of godliness into the world, to do our job, to bring Geula. May it come this Purim in Harary.
Everyone please stay seated for one moment. Please stay seated. One short announcement before our final 3-minute closing message before they open up lunch outside. There's a lost and found set up at the front desk for anyone who found something or lost something. For a closing message of today's and this weekend's event, I'd like to invite Rabbi Yaakov Salomon one more time to the
Dear friends, I did not ask to be here. Do not blame me for standing here. I refuse to be the interruption between you and lunch. You may blame Yossi Friedman. He texted me 5 minutes ago and he said, do it. I said no, so here I am. That's the way it works around here. So I have to end this incredible experience with one story from Reb Noach Weinberg's Zechron Bracha. And then I really do let you go. Really, 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 maybe. Reb Noach Weinberg was very, very, very fond of telling the story about the time that there was a bris in Esha Torah, and all the dignitaries, all the Rabbanim of Yerushalayim came. And to make a long story short, they asked Rabbi Chaskel Sarno, the Mashgiach of Chevron Yeshiva, they asked him to get up and say a few words. Now, Rabbi Chaskel Sarno was an incredible speaker, an incredible man. He was known to tell it like it is. He got up at that bris, and in front of all the Rabbanim that was sitting there, and was a who's who of all the great Rabbanim of Yerushalayim, he said the following. He said, Rabbi Isai, I want to ask you a question. Who was the one person in Klal Yisrael in the last 100 years that had more impact on Klal Yisrael than anyone else? So they all looked around at each other and said, Chaskel, well, why are you starting up? It's not a contest. I want to know, who is that one person? So every chassid in the audience thought it was his Rebbe, it was his Rebbe, it's Chaim, it was some Sefer, whoever it might be. Chassid Sana wasn't finished. I'm going to tell you who it was, and you won't believe it, but this person never learned a blot Gemara in his life. Oh, Chassid, please. Please, you're just being difficult. Well, why are you starting up? Sit down, sit down. I says, I'm not done yet. The one person who had a greater impact than anyone in Klal Yisrael in the last 100 years did not wear a yarmulke. Sarna, you're losing your mind. What's going on here? He had one final moment. And Reb Chaskel Sarna said, I'm going to tell you who it is. And all of you are going to agree. How's that? Now, that's a real miracle. He told them who it was. And Reb Noach said, they all agreed. And that person, Chaskel Sarna said, was Sarah Schneer. Sarah Schneer never learned the Black Gemara. Sarah Schneer didn't wear a yarmulke. What was Sarah Schneer? Her yard site was last week, by the way. Her yard site was the same day as my mother's, by the way. I'll never forget it. Noach said the reason that Sarah Schneer had a greater impact than anyone in Klal Yisrael was only one reason. And that is, she was a seamstress. And she used to sit in her home and sew dresses for the Yiddish Meidlich. And then she started to cry. And she cried for them. What's going to happen to the Yiddish Meidlich? What are we going to do about them? How are we going to teach them? How are we going to build our homes? And the secret that made her the one person that had such an impact was one thing. That was, she cried. And she took her idea, and she went to the Chavetz Chaim. She said, I want to open a Beis Yaakov. And the Chavetz Chaim, in his inimitable way, said, we're going to do it. That's why. We put months and months and months and months and months of work into this convention. We know how important it is. And I sit here, and I sit in the dais, and I sit in the audience, and I walk in the hall, and it's amazing everything we do. And I look around and I say, what an incredible mind. I just don't believe this is happening. It's unbelievable, it truly is. And what a solicit is. I want to tell you the truth, and I know we joke around a lot, and I try to be funny, and usually not successful, but you're very kind. But besides that, I cried at this convention 3 times. I cried when the video didn't work last night. That was one, that was a biggie. I cried when we sat on the stage last night the end of that incredible program, and we all sang Hashivenu Hashem Echad. That's a moment to cry from. And I'm going to tell you the third time I cried, and none of you are going to be able to predict it. And I think that the person who made me cry is not even here anymore. I cried on Shabbos morning when I heard Moshe Collar speak. You probably don't even remember him. It seems like, as Charlie said, 6 months ago. I don't know Moshe Collar. I played baseball with him last year once. That's all. I'm a great baseball player. It's not so funny. But when Moshe Collar got up here and he spoke, I cried. I know you're not supposed to cry on Shabbos. Why? You know why I cried? Because I understood then what this is about. Moshe Collar and the 4 people who got up here Friday night, I didn't forget their names. Ephraim Roshavsky and Yossi Lieberman and Steve, Frank, and give me one more. One more. And Josh Brody. When they got up here and told their stories, and then Moshe Collar got up here the next day, and he said what he did, and he said, I'm not doing anything. I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular guy. I said, you know what? We sit here and we plan and we plan. We have this incredible idea. We're going to bring Rabbi Yitzchak David Grossman from Yerushalayim, and he's going to come. We said, I don't know, but no, he's not going to come. He's going to come. And when he said yes, we had a we were so excited. But you know what? We knew what it was going to be like. We knew he's an incredible human being who wasn't touched by him. We knew when we bring Rabbi Noach Isaac Goldbaum, we know what we have. We know when we bring Rabbi Eitan Feiner, we know what we have. We know we have an incredible product. We know we're on the mission, like Charlie said. We understand it. But when Moshe Collar gets up here, and all the other fellows who get up here and say, I'm just a regular guy, I sit and I cry and say, that's what it's all about. That's it. That's Project Inspire. Take a look. It's not about all the stars that you see. It's about the Moshe Collars. That's the message that I want to leave you with. It's not about all the celebrities and the great Rabbanim. They're fabulous leaders. We need to be inspired by them. Yes, fabulous. And you're going to kill me for this. It's not even about Charlie Harary. All right, maybe it's about it. It's about Moshe Collar. It's about Yossi Lieberman. It's about all those people. It is about you. Take the message home. Go to lunch. Enjoy it. Pack up all the bags, like Yossi told you, yeah, for the whole week. We're going to daven mincha. Yes, all the wonderful things. But do what you're supposed to do, and remember, it's all about you. Thank you for coming.
Okay, for the raffle winners. 5-minute bathroom break, then winner, but here are the raffle winners. iPad, Susan Strasburger, are you here? Susan Strasburger, you won the iPad. Family tablet, Yeli Koenig. Yeli Koenig won the family tablet. The watch was won by Kim Cohn. Kim Cohn won the watch. And the gift card to Abigail's was won by Karen Pozrensky. Karen Pozrensky. Those are your winners. Mincha's in 3 minutes. Please check out of your rooms as soon as possible. Please check out of your rooms as soon as possible.